This is Jeff Cochell. We got the Princess Pandora with the Wisdom Wand. Immature love, maturity, and immaturity are concepts that refer to the success of the or failure of an individual's biological, intellectual, and psychological evolution to an adult stages of development. This is Neon Flags with the Frangelica Frost, Melanie Griffith. Immature love relationships, complementary differences refers predominantly to complementary strengths, and immature relationships, complementary differences generally refer to complementary weaknesses. Alyssa Milano's Neon Flux with Lindsay Lohan and Andy Moore. These weaknesses include needs, wants, and other personality traits. And Marissa told me that reflects some failure of healthy development, some failure of psychological maturation, as we shall see or we deal with more essentially with the issue of separation and individuation within individuals' success or failure, saturation and adult level of autonomy. Many a person faces, with Justine Bateman, many a person faces life with an attitude that, if translated into explicit speech, which almost never is, would amount to the question when I was 5 years old, important needs of mine were not met. On a basic level, these are very passive, even though on more superficial levels, they have sometimes may appear more active and aggressive. At bottom, they're waiting to be rescued, waiting to be told they are good boys or good girls, waiting to be validated or confirmed by some outside source. Their whole lives may be organized around the desire to please, to be taken care of, or alternately to control and dominate, to manipulate, and coerce the satisfaction of their needs and wants, because they don't trust the affinities of anyone's love or caring. Whether they seek confirmation and fulfillment through domination or submission, through controlling or being controlled, through ordering or obeying, there is the same fundamental sense of emptiness, a void in the center of that being, a screaming hole where an autonomous self failed to develop. They have never assimilated and integrated the basic fact of human aloneness. An individual has not been attained to a level appropriate to their cold development.
My name is Taneg, and I've had Parkinson's for 13 years.
My name is Judy Barrett, and I was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2016.
God damn it.
I'm Allie Vignarelli. I was diagnosed with onset Parkinson's in 2022.
There's 10 of us in the room. We'll all look very different.
Play a role in their
Which
motivation.
makes it extremely challenging.
Beneath the surface of awareness, she falls in love with a man. Whatever his other wishes, shares important characteristics with a rejecting parent. Perhaps he is cold, unemotional, unable or willing to express love. Like a losing gambler who cannot resist returning to the table where past defeats were suffered, she feels impulsively drawn to him. This is the time she will not lose. She will melt him away. She will find a way to melt him. She will find him failed and receptive as a child. In doing so, she feels she will be the redeemer in her child, and she will win her victory over the past. But she does not realize that unless other factors intervene to generate a positive change in her psychology, the man is useful to her, is serviceable to her, and the drama she is playing only so long as she remains somewhat aloof, somewhat uncaring, somewhat distanced from her, Nicole Aniston. If he would become warm and loving, she would no longer be a suitable understudy for mother or father. Which no longer be appropriate for roles which she has. So that time that she cries for love, she takes careful measures to maintain a distance between them to prevent him from giving her the things she asked for, if somehow in spite of her efforts. Wait, that might be ego. You might be actually a deer in the headlights with embarrassment. He does become loving and carrying the likelihood that she'll feel disoriented and will withdraw. Probably she'll fall out of love with him. Why she cries to herself. With the crying game, do I always fall for men who don't know how to love? Man looks at his braid and there's a thought, now I'm married, now I'm grown up. our responsibilities, just like Father. I will work her hard. I will be her protector. I will take care of you just as Father did. Just as Father did with Mother. Then he and you and everyone will see that I'm a good boy. Wait, I caught that. Let me get not block my face, dude. Now to a new page and write one of the ways I would feel frustrated my father was. Now on a fresh page, write the name of either your spouse in your first marriage or the person with whom you have an affair with. And below that name, write 6 or 7 or 8 phrases or words to describe a characteristic of that person. Again, ending with a statement on how you now turn to a new page and write one of the ways I feel frustrated by. And then write 6 or 8 endings to that sentence. On one level, it's true enough that a characteristic of immature love is that a man or woman does not perceive his or her partner realistically. Fantasies and projections take the place of clear vision, and yet on a deeper level, on a level not ordinary, acknowledge I was happy with the Cochell. I had a cute laugh. There's awareness, there's recognition, there's knowledge of whom they have. That's 2 doppelgangers out on a normal competition. Nobody, I repeat, nobody gets that happy, dude. But with the game in which they're engaged may require that they pretend to themselves to be blind. This allows them to go through the motions of being bewildered, hurt, outraged, shocked. A tendency which immature persons finds precisely those immature other persons whose probably attitude and style of being will complement and mesh with their own. A man, for example, who experiences the need to suffer to be second in a relationship. The difference between mature romantic love and immature love that may be called romantic will be elaborated further in chapter 4. Especially relevant will be our discussion of self-esteem and autonomy. But for the moment, we need to remember that when we speak of immaturity. We are dealing with wish to isolate a principle, to characterize individuals and relationships as mature or immature. At the same time, we recognize that in reality, these concepts operate along the continuum. I make this point at the moment because having read the description of immature love, the reader may feel confused, sensing that his or own relationship is mature in some respects and immature in others, and wondering how to categorize the two. Furthermore, we need to recognize that a highly evolved, mature man and woman may still have moments of immaturity, feelings, and responses that are far below the general level of his or her functioning, but such moments tend to be accepted by such persons for what they are. Do not become the occasion for self-blame or self-condemnation. It is not the case that a mature man or woman never feels the desire or inclination to be a child, to be helpless, to be irresponsible. Other circumstances permit he or she allows such feelings, accepts them, owns them, but does not get stuck down there. It does not remain fixated there for life. The decisions to flow with such feelings and act on them when it is safe and appropriate to do so involves a choice, not a compulsion. In my opinion, the Angelica Frost as one doppelganger of a memory is okay. A mature man or woman accepts occasional immature feelings as normal, even pleasurable. A mature man or woman disowns such feelings and remains imprisoned by them. I also remember other ones like the Gale Ball, too. Of course, man and woman can fall in love sometimes in spite of this area of conflict. And sometimes there are enough other positives in the relationship, and the couple has enough art and wisdom so that they are able to rise above this difficulty. But sometimes, often, the difficult proves to be insurmountable barrier to a sustained love. And what is said, and they took it back at how rarely the couple understands why. They consider the happy side of this phenomenon when a man and woman